It's your girl, Tia Shasha High, the host of Millennial High, where the trend-setting millennial comes for motivation, inspiration, and deep conversation. Today's show, we revisit the topic of relationships with my love guru, Brook, Lynn. Hey, Brook.
Hey, Tia.
We will discuss conscious relationships, which is the ultimate union, or so they say. So if you're single and looking to level up in your next relationship or in a relationship and want to see how yours measures up, make sure you keep it locked. In our Trendsetters segment, where we highlight people, music, ideas, and events that are on the leading edge, I have Brandon Ballard. I'm so excited that you're here, actually, because I see you all over social media, and you're finally on the station with me. You're on the radio with me. I'm so excited. He is the community director for Philly Cares, and we'll discuss how you can give back, and I can too. We all can give back this holiday season. A little bit about Millennial High. This show serves as a platform for those who want to inspire and provoke others to take action towards their purpose in life. So if you have an inspirational, uplifting, thought-provoking message you want to share with the millennials of the world, I want you, be on the show. You can message me on IG or Facebook, both Millennial High, and email me at millennialhigh@gmail.com, and let's connect. First, though, as always, I like to set the mood for the show. And the first song I want to play is Closer by Emma Jensen. I love this girl, and I love the lyrics of this song. And I love this song for the show because she kind of has like this, the lyrics are come a little closer. Do you feel like we are over? So it's kind of like asking someone in a relationship, like, do you want to continue or do you want this to end? And when it comes to a conscious relationship or an unconscious one, I kind of feel like that is a common theme or dialogue. So let's play a little Emma Jensen, and we will come back and talk to Brook, Lynn, and maybe Brandon might chime in a little now and then, right? Here we go. Closer, Emma Jensen. And we are back. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Millennial High on 106.5 FM. And I am your host, Tia Shasha High. It feels really good to be back, actually. So I had a break for 3 weeks when I was sending in episodes, older episodes. Like, because we're right now on the 40th show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I'm going to have 40 straight shows in a row, you guys. So every Sunday, someone new, something new. So I had a little break, a little hiatus in between, right? So the last episode was one of my favorite episodes, and it was with the person I have in the studio today, Brook, Lynn. It was our love episode. It was Spring into Love, right? With Millennial High, where we talked about the good feeling part of a relationship, the honeymoon stage of a relationship. So we did, how do you know when you're in love? Right. And then when you're in love, what do you do to communicate love to your partner? And that was the last show. And I played that last week. So hopefully you tuned in and you'll be a little bit familiar with Brook, Lynn. She is a playwright and author. She's absolutely amazing. I love this girl to death.
Oh, I love you too, Tia.
You're so silly. So everything that she does when it comes to her writing is always focused in love.
Yes.
Really. And that's really important to you're in like this journey.
Yes.
I get that with the whole red vibe she has too.
Yes.
I love it. I love love. That's basically what it boils down to. I'm in the process right now of writing my one-woman show, one-woman play, and it's based on my journey into love and my current relationship mainly. And the last 3 years, actually almost 4 years, have been very interesting,
to say the least.
And it's just my take on love and the relationships and what does it mean to love someone unconditionally. So it'll be very, very interesting, I think, anyway.
You know what? I had the privilege of reading some of it, the beginning of it. And I kind of feel like it's about unconditional love, but when unconditional love borders obsession.
Yes.
It's like a very thin line.
Yes,
right
it's
there.
very thin line. But I don't know if I view my I don't think it is an obsession. I'm not quite sure, but
Okay, good.
we'll see.
And that's what I love about art, because everything is up for interpretation, right?
Right.
It's the perception of the viewer. So what I love about what you're doing is you're letting yourself be vulnerable, because you're going to be on stage, just you.
You got
Sorry,
this.
I'm making it. Am I making it worse?
Yes, you are. You are. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to be on stage, and I'm going to, be vulnerable and let you guys into my life and show you exactly how crazy I am, I guess. But
No, but there's a beauty though. There's an underlying beauty that runs through this. Like, even if it's so today, and this is what brings us into the topic today, because we're going to be talking about a conscious relationship. So it's like, what is a conscious relationship, and how do you even know that you're in one, I guess? Because then we'll just clear that up in like 2 minutes, because right before the show, Brandon and Brooke and I, we were talking, and we kind of summed it up pretty clearly, right? So it was just like, I think Brandon said, some people get in relationships to fill a void. And that's what the unconscious relationship is. Right. It's just you're in a relationship with someone because
it's convenient.
It's convenient.
Right.
It's cuffing season. Right now it's cuffing season. We all know that.
No, I didn't know that. Can I tell you?
You didn't know about
I've
that?
never heard of cuffing season in my
cuffing
life until I met this girl, Brook.
Yes. All right, you gotta be careful. Yes, I
her.
told her. I was like, you gotta be careful, because the guys around this time, actually,
Whoa.
it's cuffing season's already involved.
I mean, she said the guys.
Right. Well, women. I'm sorry, women too. They get into relationships because it's cold. They're not out there, flossing or whatever, and they.
Yeah, some people still find times to floss in the cold.
Well,
now.
they do, but it's not as often, because it's cold out there, and they just I don't want to be out there in my.
So what are you saying? So then they get tied down to one person.
Yes.
They stay with them through the cold season.
They stay with them through the cold season.
Mess.
They have a place to stay.
It's kind of like a seasonal job.
Yes.
Like
pretty
you
much.
sign up
yes.
for it.
Yes.
You sign up just to
for it.
specifically last until then, and
they
then
have
it's like
applications and
understanding.
everything.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding.
But there are people that treat it.
Yeah,
as such,
that's such.
like
All
that.
right, so then here's my thing then. So obviously that sounds a little unconscious to me, because it's just to fill the need because you're lonely.
Right. Basically.
Okay, so beyond that, to me, I kind of feel like, and I think that's a problem. And that's the reason why it's kind of like this call for a change of a different type of relationship. Like the dynamic has to change, because I think feelings can get, you can be hurt in that, because what if one person thinks that you're with them because you want to be in it with them, and then by summertime you're like, okay, forget about you, right? I kind of feel like that's messed up. So I can't even talk about that right now. That's another show. That's another show.
Yeah.
I want to focus on what makes a relationship great.
Yes.
Not convenient.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about conscious relationships, right? So like we said, it's a romantic liaison where both people feel dedicated to a sense of commitment towards growth.
Yes.
That's the key of this. So Brooke and I, because we love to read, right? We found this article, and it's in Times. It's kind of like this New Age Thought online magazine. And I think actually Brooke introduced me to this magazine site, but they had a really great article about the recipe for what makes it a conscious relationship. And if you're tired of the cuffing season, you're tired of wasting your time dating Tom, Dick, and Harry, or Jane and Michelle and Amber, whatever, then this show was for you then, because or if you want to have a relationship that lasts beyond the winter, right? Okay, good. So let's talk about a conscious relationship. So there's a recipe. Like there's this author says that there's like a recipe that makes up a conscious relationship. So if Brandon chimes in, that'll be awesome, so we can hear a male perspective.
Yes, please do.
Not exactly a chef, but I'll see what I can bring to the table.
So the first, she says there's 10 things, but honestly, reading them, we kind of condense them into 8, because I kind of feel like some of the numbers are similar, but we'll talk about it. So the first thing to do Okay, the first thing is that two fully committed people who are willing to help each other heal and grow from the past.
Yes.
So that's number one, she's saying. The first recipe for a conscious relationship is just that two fully committed people. And I think
Yes.
that word committed
It's difficult for
kind
you.
of threw me for a loop last night when we
Yes.
went over this. I'm like, no, like, what does it mean? Like, what does committed mean? Like, Britt, what does committed mean to you?
I actually believe it's a multitude of things. I mean, it's not just feeling like, some people get satisfaction purely from just the presence of just
Right.
knowing that somebody's there, knowing, once again, filling that void.
Right.
But I think two people that find times often to actually just pour into the relationship itself, couples that find activities that they know will help them grow, in ways that just sitting around won't allow you to. So you could always exist together. You could spend every day together, and just watch TV every day. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't lead to any sort of development at all, but there are other things that you could be doing to, bring extra levels of positivity into your relationship. So I think, that aspect of being committed is just about how much you're willing to put into it, for however long you expect it to last. Because it's a lifelong thing.
No, it's not that. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult.
See, I like that she says it should be simpler than that.
That Tia, what is the meaning of commitment?
So commitment is the decision to stay together.
That simple.
No,
That's simple.
it's not.
It is that simple.
The decision
Tia.
to stay, it's missing.
Yes,
It's missing a
it's not
second half.
missing anything,
The
Tia.
duration. We are
No.
in time. So there is a duration. The commitment to stay together for the winter.
The
The
fact-
commitment to stay
no.
together for life.
The fact
the
that
commitment to stay
you-
together until I'm tired of you.
Tia, the fact that you're adding time to it makes it it makes it a conditional relationship. It makes it like it's not unconditional. The fact that you're even thinking about, okay, this relationship may only last this long. The whole purpose of being in a committed relationship is to make sure that it lasts forever. That's the
Really?
whole purpose. Yes. To sit up there and think, okay, I'm going to be committed unless this person or until this person does this, instead of sitting there and working it out. Like, that's the problem with nowadays. Like, people don't want to work out problems. Now, I'm not saying that if you have a problem and it's a continual problem that you stay in that relationship. What I'm saying to you is you need to learn how to work your relationships. So many people nowadays it's so easy for them to just say, oh, well, they didn't buy me this or they didn't do this, and I'm just going to get out of the relationship, or I'm going to cheat on them because they're not doing what if that's the case, then leave the relationship. Don't be in that relationship.
And see, and this is what draws, and so this is number one, to heal and grow together, because apparently if what this person is, what they're not doing for you, that means that there's an aspect of yourself that needs to be worked on, because they're just serving as a mirror. So they're pointing. So this author's saying, what she's saying is just that, and it reminds me of the Julia Michaels song, Julie, that's her name, right? The issue song?
I don't know.
Where she's like, I got issues, you got them too.
Oh,
give them
wow, I
all
know
to
what you're
me,
talking
and
about.
I'll give
them
mine
all
to
to
you.
you.
And I
Right,
think
right.
that that's what she's saying. So you have to be willing to, in a committed relationship, be
Yes.
willing to heal and grow from the past.
Yes.
So that means that if that person didn't buy you something and you want to leave, what is it about you that you want to run from? Like, so, and then that's working, that's staying, right? That's the committed part, staying and working through that together.
Right. Exactly. You have to be able to, because you figure
Right, and
you
that's
have,
the
you have
difference.
problems in your past, like you have issues, like somebody might have treated you bad, you know, like, so if your partner needs to be able to understand that and be able to work with that with you, be able to comfort you and show you, okay, I'm not going to be that person. Sometimes you get the people who are liars and they say what they want to say to you and make it, what's the, like, not manipulation, but they just make it, basically just say what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Just-
another thing she talks about. Yeah.
So you don't want, like, you both have to be on the same page is the problem. So nowadays, people aren't on the same page. Like, if you sit there and have a conversation with your partner and let them know, okay, I do have trust issues, and then it's up to your partner to help you overcome that.
So do you say most relationships nowadays don't practice transparency with one another?
Basically,
Right.
yeah,
Like we
everything.
probably just talk about the same things over and over,
and
but
over
you never
again.
actually take time to talk about yourself and what problems you might be going through.
Right.
Like,
And now I think I understand the committed part, because in my mind I'm thinking, so that will get people say, oh God, she comes with too much drama, or he comes with too much baggage. And that is, they could run, they can leave, they
Right.
can say goodbye, right?
Or they'll
But then
leave-
that's a committed. But I think being with someone that in the beginning, it needs to be clear that you're in this for the long run.
Right.
I think that has to be clear in the beginning.
really
it's
does.
all almost a game, because as you just gave that example of saying, you know, for someone that is just coming with all that transparency, and to the other person they may seem too dramatic, or like they're coming
Right.
with too much baggage. I feel as though Brooke's response to that would be that the person that thinks it's a problem, there just isn't the right person
It's not
for
the
you.
person.
So there's so many different ways that this really breaks down, and it comes to how much you know about yourself and how much you know about what you desire in a person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. I always say people have no idea what it's like to really sign their lives away and to say that I am going to be committed to this. You know, I joined the military years ago, and so that concept of just saying, I don't know what this is going to bring, but no matter what, I'm saying I'm a part of it, and I'm saying that I am
Exactly.
for it, and that I will
Yeah,
work
I
hard.
like the way he
Exactly,
said
yes.
it. You actually say it pretty
Exactly.
good. Brandon actually says it pretty well.
Yes.
Because Brooke and I, we were going at it last night over some coquito, because I made some the other night with my friend Marcel. I love Marcel. Shout out to you, Marcel. I know you're listening. And I'm like, you know what? Let me pour you a drink and let's have a discussion.
Let's have a
and we were
discussion.
going at
yes,
it.
because
But
she was
that
like,
makes
no.
it-
But she was like, no, because like you don't know if it's going to be this time or that. But you're not supposed to be thinking about time. You're not. You're
Correct.
supposed to go in, like, if you're in a relationship, you're supposed to go in, like, as soon as you guys make that commitment to each other. You know, you say, okay, I'm yours, you're mine, which I have a problem with that anyway. But you know, I don't like to be claimed, and I don't want to, you know, do the claiming thing. But if you say, like, we're together, then we have to, you know, it's supposed to be forever. You're not supposed to say, okay, well, what if this happens or that happens?
Correct.
And you're just not supposed to think that way.
All the
it's
what
my
ifs,
whole thought.
all the what ifs, you should already have your answers
Right.
to, knowing, okay, even if that happens, I mean, I'm going to do my best to work at fixing this. And that's what you both have to find,
Yes.
like, a common ground to enter in a relationship, not I guess not have that discussion
Right.
3 months afterwards. And
Right,
then
when
you've allowed
someone's
all
always
that.
hearts into it, and then they
Right.
kind of like calm down their issues, tone it, hide them,
Right.
suppress them, because you don't want to lose this person now.
Right, no.
Okay, so let's move on. So the next one to put in your conscious relationship is that you need two people who are self-aware and willing to take responsibility for every action and input into the relationship. So she's saying, sadly, many people have the unconscious view that everything their partner does is either right or wrong, and the focus is outside of themselves. So what do you think about that? And I'll do the conscious side. So that's the unconscious side. So the conscious side is, so in a conscious relationship, what you do is ask, what am I doing to create this situation, and what can I do to help it get better? And I actually like that.
Right. I think relationships are all about compromise. So
Now you got to learn something now, because you didn't even know about cuffing season yet. All right, so there's a whole section of this that you're missing out on now.
compromise. Nobody is
Compromise?
yes, nobody
Can we
is
change
right.
the word? Okay, go ahead. Continue, Brooke.
Does
Go
it
ahead.
sound too
No,
giving
no,
up
no.
to you? Like, does it sound like you're bringing too much to a table and you're like dropping all
Now,
your stuff on someone's table?
compromise. I just, that word, yes, exactly.
She turns away from me. Like, you know
She's like, but no.
Like,
what-
I
she's
can't-
like,
I
but what
can't
about
do
when
it.
I am right?
Yeah.
What about when I am right?
No, it's not.
I'll be honest, man. I be
Right.
transparent here as well
Yes,
too.
yes.
All right, and so and my lady has the complete opportunity of listening in as well. But with me, this is because as soon as you mentioned the question, this is one that I can touch on. I think this is something that just needs to be revisited often in relationships. Even the idea of compromise and what it means to you both, because I personally struggle sometimes with being so, just strong-willed and so passionate about my thoughts and about like how I understand things that that can also become a communication issue in my relationship. And as I mentioned to you two before the show, entrepreneurship brought on battles that I had never been prepared for in a relationship. If anybody out there is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, if you're with someone, make sure that you have the talk beforehand, you know, and it's not just like a disconnect because it changes the dynamics of your lifestyle change. And if you're deciding to be with someone, you have to understand the smallest and biggest changes in your life are also the smallest and biggest changes in theirs as well. So it's a shared thing. And if you don't take time to reevaluate yourself, which I am still working on, then communication can be lagged, and that's just something that you won't get over.
I don't know why you're looking at. Do not look at me. Listen, this is why I have you on the show, all right? Because apparently I'm not the best at this, okay? So, no, but that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense to me.
I mean, but they're
But
compromising
I need an example. What does it look like? What is a compromise in a relationship? Like, give me an example of when you've compromised in a relationship.
Oh my God.
Which time?
We have compromise Wednesdays, but like
I understand. No, I'm see in my mind. So it's not like, okay, well, you know, where are we eating tonight?
No,
It's not
so
that. I'm
it's
talking
bigger than that.
Yeah, it's bigger than that.
Okay.
So I'm talking about like, did you have to compromise? You know, like your work hours.
Right. Okay. So
or maybe a
thing.
Wednesday is our date night, so you can't go to any events on Wednesday. Like, what does it look like?
Okay. So the far end of the spectrum, not just date nights, because that's small potatoes. So let's say you're in an argument, because we know all relationships, they have their ups and downs, right? You're in an argument. You have to compromise. You have to feel, okay, is this that important that I win this argument?
Right.
Or should I compromise and say, okay, we're not going to agree. We can agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people, they're so focused on getting their point across and being, you know, I can't say. I mean,
so it's like what
passionate, but
so it's like what Marianne Williamson said. She's like, "Would you rather be right or happy?"
Right.
So is it that big of a deal to you to win?
Right. Basically.
Right.
Exactly.
And could you even expound on like breaking it down for those that get caught right on that thin line between agreeing to disagree and brushing under a rug? Because I think there's a line there. There's a line there because if you just continue to say like, all right, like we're just going to come to we're not even going to communicate about this, that can also be dangerous as well. And you think that you're just agreeing to disagree and settling something.
And that is, you're right, that is a problem. So basically, when you're brushing it under a rug, normally when a person brushes it under a rug, they just won't have the conversation at all. You know, they won't even, they might start the argument, but then they'll just finish it and then they'll let that build up. Like, so what I'm talking about is, okay, you still have that conversation, but not in an argument form. I feel as though when, like, a lot of people, like, you need to have the conversation in a calmly fashion. You can't be passionate, like passionate. Like you should be passionate about whatever it is that you're talking about. But a lot of people mistake passion with anger and get arguments and everything like that. So you have to be able to like have a conversation like we're having it right now. Okay, we're not going to argue about this right now. We're going to let our emotions get calm, and then we'll bring it back to the table. When a person brushes it under a rug, they just never bring it back up. Never.
Yeah, but they start then holding resentment against the other party, and that kind of like puts poison into a relationship anyway.
Exactly. So you need to be able to I guess talk about it like adults is basically what it is. Correct. You know, like
and for this part, what they're saying is just that, but you don't look at the other person to solve the problem. You look at yourself. It's about self-awareness. And that's why and I get so I understand the compromise thing. I'm not going to argue about that. I know when to I don't need to win this, right? So
then at that point the relationship's a competition now.
Right, exactly.
Right. So then it's about turning, I think, within and saying, why does it bother me that he's not home on Wednesday nights? Like, why am I so bothered by this?
That's a different conversation.
But I think that's what they're talking about here. Two people who are self-aware and willing to take responsibility for every action and input into the relationship. So what she's saying is that unconscious an unconscious relationship, they view everything their partner does as either right or wrong, and the focus is outside themselves.
Right.
She's saying tune. So
Tune
to me,
in,
it's different. It's a different level. So now you're not talking about compromising. You're talking about why does it bother you?
Right.
And fixing that or healing that or focusing on that within yourself and seeing if that can be pacified.
Right. And then it could be because, like, let's say, like, we're not talking about people who are just starting out in relationships. They probably been in relationships before. So, like the example you just gave about Wednesday, like he comes home late on Wednesdays. It could be the fact that somebody else did that.
Right,
you know?
exactly.
And then, so you have to look into yourself, like, okay, and is he communicating with you about why is he coming home late on Wednesdays? You know, is it because of work or whatever? And do you have a trust issue? Do you believe what he says?
Exactly. I think it's a lot of there's a lot of trust.
Work on yourself. Yeah.
Right.
Like that's a lot of issues that you have to work on.
So then, to me, so that's what I'm talking about. So then the compromise doesn't work there because it's not. You can't. It's about trust now.
I think compromise now that I'm getting, I think it's really a state of mind that lies within each individual in the relationship.
Yes.
So your compromise, it's not just about, because just like we said, it's not as simple as a where are we going to dinner, and then it's still not even on the level of, all right, just like, I'm upset that he's not coming home Wednesday nights, or I'm upset that she's out doing X, Y, Z. But I think the compromise happens within yourself when you say, okay, like, what issues might I have, and like, does this person deserve to be treated in this fashion just because I may have issues that aren't even based off of anything this person has done, but maybe my past, and maybe that's something I haven't let go. So then I think it's also your position, and I don't want to like be bad teacher, but I think it then becomes your responsibility to communicate that to the person and say, like, this might be not just like a, I got a problem with your Wednesday nights, but just like, I've been thinking, and I've actually taken some time, and I think that my past may affect how I view our Wednesday nights.
Right.
Yeah, oh my
And
God,
I'd like to
and
talk
that's a
about
really
it.
great relationship right there. I think that makes sense to come at it like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Instead of the argument.
Instead of the argument.
Yes.
Like, you're never home for me, and blah, you know,
Right,
all that, like the whining.
Right.
Right, but that makes sense to come at it that way. Like, that's.
And I think people nowadays are just too late. And if I exist in this boat, I promise you I'm developing and trying to get better. But I think nowadays people in relationships are just too lazy. Because as we're constructing the elements to create a perfect relationship or the great relationship, it's just adding in more homework and more time for evaluations and time for, all right, you know, instead of just doing our favorite thing, we're going to talk this time. And talk about how our week went and how we can develop into next week. What business can we start together then? Then it becomes homework, and some people are just like, I don't want that now.
Right. They want the easy relationship, and when you're not satisfying or you're not catering to your mate, then that's when all the problems come in, where they end up cheating, or even if they're emotional cheating, like that's a big thing now.
Right.
You know, they're talking to other women or other men about their problems at home. Like, who does that? No, like, talk to your mate.
Right.
But that's
now I think you just stepped on a lot of people right now. So they're just like, hold on now, give us a butt, give us like a little bit, to the side.
No, there's no.
Let's move
the
along.
Truth is after the butt. No, it's not.
So the next is two people who use kind communication verbally and physically, and who can navigate the waters of conflict with ease. And that kind of goes to what we were just talking about earlier, which I love.
Nobody's right or wrong. Like, your relationship, there's not a right or wrong relationship. Your relationship is your relationship. So when you want to speak to somebody, if you want to speak to your mate, you should do it with kindness. You should not like call them names, yell at them and like argue with them. You know, if you have a disagreement, then do it with respect and kindness. You know, you're not supposed to
keep on talking, because I gotta pull up this post that was so good. I read this the other week, but I want you to finish your thought. I'm gonna pull up this post and you finish your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like a lot of people, like, they don't think about kindness. They think, okay, I'm mad about something, I'm going to attack this, and I'm going to prove my point, and I'm going to let my feelings be known. And there's a whole other way of doing things, you know.
Right.
I'm not to say that in my relationship I don't argue and fuss and you know, say things, but I do make a conscious effort when I realize how passionate I am about the subject that I just, I step back and I calm down and I come and revisit it.
That's what I want. That's what I want everyone to understand. As like the most challenging thing to think about is how do you get to having the great relationship? Or you look at people that have been married or been together for 60, 70 years, and I think their only secret was truly revisiting their purpose and why they were together.
Yeah.
They still have arguments. They still get into the same little petty, bickering moments. They still have had drastic moments that they've gone through where their entire dynamic has changed. Maybe someone was failing at a point in time. Maybe they had given up on one another multiple times, but they continued to revisit before anything happened.
So this post, and then I'm going to move on because I want to talk to Brandon a little bit about what he's doing, what he's up to in the city. So I'm going to post it on my Facebook page, but it was Young, Gifted, and Black IG, and they reposted. And it was such a great thing. So it was about Sierra and her husband, Russell Wilson, and how so many people are calling him like a cornball or whatever because he treats her right.
Right.
So she flips out to this girl. She's like, she's just like, what do you mean? So she was so upset. She's just like, so you seriously, so it was so long, but it was so good. She's like, you really truly think that, because they were comparing him to Future, saying, Future was the better one. I'm sure Sierra's like upset that she's not with Future. But they're like, no, Russell Wilson is a good guy. Like, what is it with you people? So then she goes on to say, she's like, you think that a man showing respect and admiration for the woman he's spending his life with is corny? She's like, who raised y'all? I know who. Men who believe that a woman only needs to be provided for and not emotionally protected. Women who are too afraid to ask for what they truly believe because any man is better than no man. TV shows that reinforce the idea that the true test of a woman is in her ability to accept abuse from all kinds. Because her true worth lies in her ability to forgive and forget. A whole generation that glorifies dysfunction over wholeness because it's more fun to talk about in your group chats. She's like, no, I'm good. If being in a committed, loving marriage with a man who identifies and praises your goodness means you settled in life, then I can't wait to settle.
Yes.
And that reminds me, and I think that so many people expect the drama and they love that and they thrive in that. It's just like, why deal with that? Like, there's another level of relationships that I feel like that's like being called forth. Right. And I'm all about that. And so let's move on, and then we're going to talk to Brandon. So the next one.
We may have upset a lot of people today, but we told the real. We told the real.
And I don't know why. I mean, I kind of feel like, don't you want more? Like, do you see how many times I see all these guys and being so successful by giving women advice on YouTube on how to heal a broken heart or how to 10 ways to deal with him if he cheated. Like, we're so confused now as to what we want, but we always knew what we wanted. But for some reason why, there's a deservability. Like, you don't deserve, you don't think you deserve to be with someone who's a good person, for men and women. Like, you deserve to be with someone who is good to you, period. So the next one is two people who strive to maintain the connection through all relationship weathers. So no matter what, you're there, and that's that committed thing.
The thing that you're afraid of. Yes.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not
afraid of.
She's afraid of the word compromise and what it means. And it's,
she doesn't like the word, like the meaning for commitment, because it's so simple. That's what that is. It is.
It's so simple, but nobody allows it to be that simple for you.
But what I'm saying is, I just doesn't. There's a way I need to have information delivered to me, and it's just not being delivered in the way that I need to hear it. There's commitment to me means that you're not like, how do you know you're not wasting?
You don't know. That's the way life is.
That's exactly.
Do you
so
know what's going to happen next year?
Is there true a commitment? No, that's what I'm saying. You can't really say commitment.
What are you talking
without
about?
a timeline?
I think that part of it that you're reaching for is the part where we, like us physical beings, don't have control over it.
Exactly.
We don't have control over it.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't really say it. But you can't say that as a definition.
But we do speak. We speak our lives and our actions into existence, though. You know, we speak our beliefs and our concepts into existence.
You have no idea what's going to happen 5 minutes from now, let alone a year from now. The same thing with commitment. You have no idea.
I can be committed in this moment.
You could be committed in a different way. I'll tell you that much. Get a straight jacket and everything.
I put it this way. I always have this thing with people that want to get into relationships and say, you know, I choose to stay single because I don't want to just deal with everything becoming difficult. And I always say that it shouldn't just become difficult, or life shouldn't just become difficult because you decided to find somebody that you might have wanted to settle down with. And so even my lady, I actually had to do more of the pushing in the beginning to make us happen. And so I had to make sure that I communicated with her that my idea of it was that I know what I truly want, and so we're going to continue to work hard at making this happen, and we're going to be committed. We're going to stay together. Like, having that entire idea, and you got to put that out there. You got to put it out there, and then once you put it out there, you own it. So then that's when you say, all right, it's true. This is what commitment is. We're staying together.
You're staying together through all weather. Through all weather. So then that means that when something comes up and you see someone's like, whoa, that came up in you, and something's coming up in me, but you're committed to stay through it and work it out. And that's the whole point of conscious relationship, is to grow. Right. So if someone chooses not to grow, then that person's not for you.
And and that is true. And you can't leave either when things get tough. And you said something, Brandon, about people want they're making a decision about being or staying single because they don't want to be difficult. But that's life. Life is very difficult. And for people to think, okay, I want to be in this happy, perfect relationship, this happy ending, which I don't believe in. Like, there's no such thing as a happy ending. People get confused with the Disney happy endings. That's what I mean about the happy endings.
Well, the thing about Disney, when you think about it, it's over.
Yeah, right.
You never really see the happily ever after.
I was about to say that in every movie, as it goes on, you see when everybody comes back together, and you see the big marriage, and you see like the "I love you forever," and then off into the sunset, and then that's where the movie ends.
That's where it ends, exactly. And then a lot of people still have that in their mindset. But life is difficult. There's ups and downs. You're going to have good times. You're going to have bad times. And for people to be like, "Oh, my life is like horrible," you're in a bad moment. Like, I seen a meme that said something
this
about
too shall pass, right?
Well, no, it said something about it. Was it a bad 5 minutes, or was it something that you milked for 5 years?
I did see that too.
It's like, so basically, like, that's basically what my thought process is. So if you're going to be in a relationship, then you're going to have to work on those difficult times, and it's not going to be just all peaches and cream the whole entire time. That's just my thought.
And that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Thank you so much, Brooke. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk to Brandon and all the great things he's doing in the city. We'll be right back. Keep it locked. And we are back. If you're tuning in, you're listening to 106.5 FM, Millennial High. I'm your host, Tia Shasha High. We just had a really fun conversation about relationships, conscious relationships. I'm in the studio with Brook, Lynn, and Philly, coined by Brandon and Brandon C. Ballard. Hey, what's up? Brandon is awesome. Thank you so much for chiming in.
No, thank you for having
during
me.
that. I love hearing a male perspective. I think it's a lot of fun. Brandon is our trend setter. He's doing so much in the city. I see him all over social media, and I love it. I'm like, yeah, he will go everywhere. I think that's absolutely awesome. So Brandon is a young, driven social entrepreneur on a mission to impact youth worldwide. He serves as the marketing director for Art is for Kids, CEO of Brandon Captures, community director for Philly Cares and executive director of the Peak Scholars Academy. He's doing his thing out there in these streets.
Thank you.
Brandon, talk to us today about Philly Cares and everything that's happening in the city this holiday season.
Thank you. I just once again I want to say, I'm very blessed to be here. Very interesting conversation we had on the relationship and the conscious relationship. Philly Cares. I love it. I love that I have the opportunity to share with you information about this venture here because the venture was started by my lady. Her name is Jade Soto, and she is the official founder of Philly Cares. She's been doing this community work since 2014, but she just didn't have a business plan, even produced for it. She didn't have any material. It was just simply a passion project, just something she had done with a best friend of hers, and they pretty much would come together and they would develop these care packages for the homeless, and they would just take them out any areas of the city that they could find. Excuse me, and they would just distribute like that, and they would muster up as much support as they can and then create as many care packages as they can. And actually it was just this year, I guess, she had her spark, and then she realized, I want to actually get more people involved, and I want to give other people an opportunity to feel what I feel when I get out there and I deliver these care packages. Because if you guys would see her, I mean, it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. It's a rough duty to take on for yourself because, working with the homeless population, you never know how your presence is going to be received. And so as she takes herself out there and the distribution is always at night, she understands that she's getting herself into a dangerous environment. I'm there with her. So I always tell her that it's not dangerous at that point.
Yeah.
But, just taking yourself into those areas and deciding to serve where it's needed. I mean, it's so humbling, and naturally, they've all been very well receptive of her presence there. They've loved the care packages. We actually have had quite a few conversations with some of the individuals, and they've actually even talked to us about why they might be out there or what it is that they may truly be struggling with. One gentleman reminded us that not every homeless person is helpless, so to say. So, we've had some pretty intriguing conversations with them, and that's why she wanted this to grow, because she knows that there is a way where we can bring the idea of love back into our city and just people naturally wanting to care for one another, because that's all it simply is. Right. And so, the biggest marketing piece here is the bow. Yeah. And so it acts as like a Christmas present bow. And as we say, we gather together and we make these care packages full of toiletries and, just snacks, non-perishable items, perhaps some forms of clothing for like the winter time, but we don't normally do clothing. It's normally snacks, assistance, paperwork. So it also will let them know where local shelters are, or if there is like an upcoming food drive or anything like that happening in the community. So we just like to keep them informed. So it's such a big deal. We've already had 2 donation barbecues, so we call it. Strategically, it was a barbecue because it was the summertime when this started. But we're going to continue to grow that out, and we gather on a bi-monthly basis. So anybody that wants to join us, more than welcome to. There's no sign-up fee or anything like that. We're accepting as many volunteers, donors, sponsors, whoever we can get. That really just wants to help us reach more people in need. And that's simply why we organize.
So then how can someone like myself, Brook, the listener, how can we join you?
So we are active on all social media platforms. We do have an Instagram and Facebook, Philly Cares. On Instagram, it's Philly_Cares. And you'll be notified of all of our upcoming efforts. And as I mentioned, we do distribute and craft the care packages on a bi-monthly basis. So the next one after what we have coming for November will be in January. So you just want to stay tuned. And if anyone wants to come out, if you're available, like I said, we have positions for, people to volunteer and actually help us craft the care packages, or help us, source the materials we need, help us the day after to distribute if you actually want to come out with us. And then on November 19th, this is our biggest opportunity yet. After just hosting 2 donation barbecues, we were reached out to by Warm Hearts and Homes, which is an organization that pairs homeless with housing and things of that nature. And so they've partnered with us to get us on board for a big event called Homeless for the Holidays, or I'm sorry, Holidays for the Homeless, whichever way you see it.
Right.
And what we're going to be doing is it's going to be a big, beautiful Thanksgiving style like dinner for the homeless, but there will also be other organizations there offering up their value in whichever way, whatever it is that they have for that population, they're going to be there offering it. So Philly Cares will have a special official space, and we will be crafting our care packages there. So we'd like for as many people that want to volunteer with us and get on board to come on out November 19th. It's actually from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Ethical Society, which if you are not familiar with that, it is at 1906 Rittenhouse Street. Once again, it's November 19th, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. At 1906 Rittenhouse Street at the Ethical Society.
November 19th. That's a Sunday.
Correct. It's a
awesome.
Sunday.
Oh, so wait, that's in 2 weeks.
Correct.
I expect to see you there with me.
I wish Jay could see this. Oh, I love that.
Wait, can kids help out too?
Yes. And so we actually have had some individuals actually bring their children to like our donation barbecues, and the children have actually helped put together the care packages. And the last distribution day, we actually had 2 young ladies come on out and actually help us distribute, and they had an awesome time. They weren't afraid to be in the areas, but granted, like we have some areas that we know, okay, if we go over here, we're going to test it out. Like we're going to make sure that it's safe enough for us to show up first. Right. Because there are some just seriously affected areas that we visit. I believe one of our spaces is actually, oh man, she's gonna get me for not remembering the street. It's like so far out of where I would find myself though, and that's why I have a hard time even remembering. But I want to say it's slightly around Lehigh, but I may be wrong. But there's a place underneath a bridge that you could definitely understand it has been forgotten about.
Wow.
And that's actually one of our most popular areas because we always make sure we cater to that area because we know that they're not taken care of by anyone else. Like, and then once again, as I mentioned, they receive it and they just show so much appreciation and just, just the love that they feel from us just being there,
And I just saw something yesterday, going home. It was around like maybe 10 in the morning. I forget where was I going or coming from. I have no idea. But all I know is I was on the Parkway and passing maybe like 17th in the Parkway, and there was someone, a homeless man sitting on the bench there, and then 2 teenagers walked by and they handed him like food. They handed him, it was like a sandwich or something they gave to him, and they walk by, and I was at the light and I look over and I see this. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I wonder if he's gonna, and he was so hungry. Like he ate like everything. I mean, he just like devoured it. Like by the time the light hit green, like he was putting the box down. I'm thinking like, and you don't think that, cause I kind of feel like when it comes into the city, like when I go into the city, especially like when you're out at night and you're leaving the bar or something, and people just walk by the homeless, or they'll say like, oh, they're just pretending, right? Like you have that. Do you ever hear that? Yeah. We're like, oh, they're
it's
not
not
really
your place to judge.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Not your place to
it's
judge.
Not your place to judge. And it's like, and there was this one thing I saw on Facebook. It was like this social project that they did, and they had money, beer, and food. And they went up to homeless in New York and they said, which one do you want? And then no one wanted the money. No one wanted the beer. They're like, I don't drink. They wanted the food. Right. Like they were hungry and they needed something. And it made me think like, wow, all you hear is that, oh, people are homeless because they're drunk, or all they want to do is they'll take the money and buy beer. They'll take
drugs.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be true.
Caring,
you know what I mean? It's
caring
like,
for that population is very similar to even caring for our youth. Knowing that a person may be in need, knowing that the person may need assistance in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
And it's something that we, and being in our positions, can provide. That's where it comes in line. And it goes into, just as you were saying, the idea of loving conditionally. Right. This is the idea of serving unconditionally.
Right.
Just serving unconditionally. It's because you know that you're making a difference. You know that you're helping. Now, some people, will chime in with the argument of enabling them, or, you know, just allowing them to kind of
Right.
think that, okay, well, if I actually just stay here, then I might actually have like an okay life that I'm all right with living, you know, get food on occasion. You know, some people drop by, give me money, and then maybe I can go buy drugs. But once again, whatever they're planning to do with it, I don't believe it's our place to judge.
Right.
It's just our place to help
To
and
give.
to provide as many opportunities as we can to offer up the assistance. And so we're very serious about making sure that we fill the bags with the assistance paperwork to let them know of everything else that's going on.
And I was just
for
going to
them
ask
get
that
help.
too. If you do that, if you give them like a little informational slip that if they needed more help, where they can go.
So these are actually packets.
Yeah, they're
we
packets.
distribute packets, and then we actually ask for if there is anything that you may know going on, or if you just happen to know of a shelter, then we'd like for you to provide the information so that we can include the shelter's information on the packets that we deliver. You know, because we want them to, and we've definitely seen a lot of them read the information that we've passed out, and like definitely once again being very well receptive and like really being excited about looking through the bag and like, you know, just understanding like what we're offering them. So just making sure that we set up as much as possible to show them that we do care and we are going to continue growing. So eventually you'll understand that Philly cares. you know?
Right. I love
it. I came up with the idea of saying Philly cares, do you? I told Jay that I felt as though that serves as a call to action
Yeah, it
for
does.
anybody that reads the name. Because the minute you even come to seeing, well, Philly cares, okay, this is what they're about. Philly cares, do you? You ask yourself, well,
Yeah, you
well,
do.
wait, what is my stance on this? Okay, so I should support, because if I don't, I guess that means I don't care.
Right,
You know, so
yeah.
it works that way. But
And it was so awesome because I think you tagged me in the flyer, or I can't
Okay.
remember how it happened, but I remember telling my daughter and telling her and saying that, babe, you know, I want us to be like involved this holiday season and like because you know for Thanksgiving I always wanted to on Thanksgiving you know, go to a soup kitchen or so. I wanted to do more with the community. And then I get a tag in this post about what's happening on November 19th. I'm like, awesome. I was like, so great.
cool.
It's like, I'm there. I love it. I absolutely love it. Any last words, Brandon, you want to say about Philly Cares, about your awesome relationship? And she must be amazing for
She's
for
phenomenal.
You to let
She's
you
phenomenal.
talk about your relationship when they're like that.
Right.
Or anything for Brooke. So last words for you, Brandon, and then Brooke.
All right. Just lastly, once again, thank you for allowing me to be here today. I you know, thoroughly enjoyed myself here. You know, just once again with Philly Cares, we'd love to get as much support as we can for our upcoming event on November 19th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Ethical Society. That is 1906 Rittenhouse Street. We need volunteers, donations of any kind, the non-perishable items, the packages themselves, assistance information, monetary donations. We do have a link on our social media sites. So Instagram, it's Philly_cares, and Facebook, it's just Philly Cares. You can also follow me online. It's either Brandon Captures. I'm on Facebook and Instagram is _Brandon Captures and another underscore. I'm sorry, I'm tiring you out with the underscores. And I'm personally Suave Soldier on Instagram, SUAVESOLDIER. And just stay tuned to a bunch of other initiatives we have
things.
coming up.
Great things. In Brooklyn.
Well, I'm just looking forward to put my play out there, and I hope everybody will come out and see it. I'll keep you posted.
Do you have a name, a title yet? Or
My Love Forever.
oh.
Yeah, so that's the working title. So we'll see what happens. But
It means so much to me.
oh.
That's what's so exciting.
Yeah, so I'll keep you guys posted on Wit Theater. I'm be performing in, and when it comes out and everything. So, and what days.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Brooke, Lynn. Thank you so much, Brandon. I'm so excited. I guess I'll finally meet your special lady. You call her,
Jade,
right? Jade.
yes, that's my special
I'll meet
lady.
her in 2 weeks, and Brooke will too, because you're going to be there. And I'm going to bring my daughter too.
Awesome.
And then I'll
Awesome.
try to get some other people out there as well. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in. It feels so good to be back. You're awesome. You're amazing. Stay tuned for Delilah Robbins. She's up next. After Delilah, it is What's Going On with Sherry Lee. So keep 106.5 on your dial the entire day. Really great programming. In the meantime, stay lit, love inspired, and true. I'll talk to you soon. next week. Bye.